Sponge.
Humour.
Why that sponge specifically?
Hands down, this was the thing that really good painters who come to my seminar were saying that's the bit that they've taken away from it.
There you go. That's the difference.
Is it? What's it for? Is it help you?
It's for cleaning your brush.
All right.
That's the difference between Matt's painting tips and my painting tips. I'm going to tell you about Tanya Smoke. Matt's going to tell you about a piece of sponge.
A piece of sponge. I'm horrific, Russ, because you're like, I'll just put a bit of paint on. It's like a award-winning paint job, and it's like I don't know how it happens.
And let me tell you,
simple. I just put a yellow here and a there. It's like Bob Ross all over again.
I was in Matt's seminar Friday for the P3, and we had probably 25 people or something around like that in there, and. When he got to the part talking about that sponge, there was not a single person that wasn't eyeing in on that. Like this is new tech. I mean,
this is tech that I haven't shown Ninja on because he's steal another one of my ideas and put a video on it.
It is the simple things. I mean, I don't know about you. I have tried so many different
good
methods
intro clips for the first 3 seconds.
Like setting up and lining up models to like spray prime them over the years.
Yeah.
And recently, out of desperation, I grabbed a piece of like 10 mil thick by 30 mil wide wood trim and put 2 strips of double-sided.
Oh, double-sided, yeah.
That is far and away beats any product that you can buy on the market.
I see you, but I'll raise it slightly because I use the magnetic discs on the bottom. So if you go to Poundland or somewhere like that and buy a baking sheet for $1, and then literally all of my stuff just gets magnetized. So now I can hold it at any angle I want when I'm spraying.
My big army transport case is an old, the big KR bags that they made back in the day.
Yeah.
And I took all of the actual foam boxes out.
Oh, that's like what Rich is.
Yeah, made a bunch of framing out of wood, Mason Runnels, and just got like the cheapest baking trays I could buy that fit in the bag and put those all in as trays, and I can fit like 3 entire armies in it.
Nice.
It's amazing. I couldn't travel here with it.
So that's all filthy, so I rinse it off.
Yeah.
And then I can come over here and I can actually take all of the paint out of my ferrule.
Hey everyone, welcome. We are here live from Lock and Load. You're watching this a couple days later. I am joined by the beautiful people here. Rich, Matt, and Russ, and David and Ryan.
Hello.
They're like, hey, we're going to do something. I was like, cool, let's just go paint and chat. And that's what today's episode is. Overall, we're going to be going over kind of like how you reflect back on a year as your painter, or reflect on the year as a painter, and then where you can go from there. But what are we all working on right now?
Who wants to start?
I'll start. I'm working on a drudge by the looks of it. I didn't bring any unpainted minis with me, so I'm kind of just...
We kind of grabbed them and said, hey, we're going to paint things. And
I think this was a model from one of your classes, wasn't it?
It is. Yeah. I'm also working on a drudge. I was fortunate enough to get the chance to teach a painting class on sickly skin this weekend, so just going to keep rolling with that and paint this little Cephalix man up.
I'm also doing a drudge.
It's almost like we don't buy this to paint.
Yeah, they're coming out of everywhere.
We need quite a few drudges, right?
I'm not doing a drudge. I'm doing Shepherd from Old Umbry, which I chose because it was sculpted by my good friend Tom.
Ooh.
There you go. Yeah.
I am working on a Chimera spinner because I actually planned to do a painting thing and brought a couple of primed models.
There you go.
And then somebody who was playing yesterday was like, hey, you want to paint my Azrak? I was like, sure. So I have the new 80 mil Super Heavy.
So we're all here with that little single infantry model, and you're just chilling with the Super Heavy.
What model? There's a reason why he's the one with the sponge and we're the ones with brushes.
Yeah, I'm like trying to do a lot more.
It's important to know he has to get this done in an hour.
I don't know about that.
Good luck.
Thanks, I'm going to need it.
1 hour speed paint at 80 mil.
So just before we dive in, just a random question looking at how everyone's painting here. Are you a base coat the entire model, shade the entire model, or are you a finish one area and then move on kind of painter?
I'm very procedural. I do all my base coats, washes, then all my volumetrics, then all my highlights.
I'm exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
I will paint this face until it is complete, and then I will work on everything around it and continually curse myself as I make a mess on the face.
Right.
I genuinely like to get an area done and finished and then move on from there.
Yeah.
But if there's anything that's close where it's like, oh, he's got a collar that goes right up to his neck, I'm like, Yeah, we at least have to base coat that first. Otherwise, at some point, I'm going to lose track of what's what, and it's going to end up bad.
That's fair.
I was going to say, I can't go more than 30 seconds before squirrel. And so that's why I'm like, it's just kind of go with the flow. Whatever I'm looking at next is probably going to get some paint on it. So
I've been very much, I'll start doing that. I'll start trying to do one area, and then I'll get like, be like, I don't really like this. Let me do more of the model and move to that. And then as I do, like, I get like 2/3 of the way, and I'll jump back to the thing and finish it, and then it all starts clicking.
I try and block the hard to reach bits first.
Yeah, inside out. Yeah.
I've realised that I actually paint the same way I sculpt, in that always, Matt will remember this from all of the years of looking at early work in progress sculpts, I have to finish the face before I do anything else.
You do.
I've got to find the character
Yeah.
of the miniature.
Like that. That makes sense, because then you can from there like build a personality and all that.
Yeah, I need to know who I'm working on before I can do the work.
I was going to say,
Helmets.
Sounds like a good doctor.
I feel like that
Russ,
makes
Russ gets inside the helmet.
Inside the helmet.
That's the name of my new podcast, Inside the Helmet.
Inside the helmet.
Little do you know, every single one of these helmeted guys are actually hollow. If you take the helmet off, you can see the face.
If you take it in a mesh mixer and take the helmet off, you can see the face they put there.
So,
Well, that reminds me of, do you remember, like, you guys are too young to remember this, there was a Tales of the Unexpected that came out in the 80s, and basically there was, what was the nature of the story? There was a painter, a famous oil painter, who'd done a portrait of I think it was like a queen or something like that, but his methodology was, and he convinced the queen that his methodology was, first I have to paint you naked, then I have to paint your underwear, then I have to paint your outer clothes, and that's how I get the full realisation. But ultimately he did it as a trick, because then when the sitting finished, he could then strip it back and then posted pictures of the queen's nudes. It was like, this was TV in the 80s. Tales of the Unexpected, man, is like one of the most messed up shows ever.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal now.
I'm definitely pretty sure it's illegal.
pretty sure.
Not 100%, but that sounds illegal.
I'm pretty certain it was illegal then.
And they just didn't care.
I mean, I have actually like quite a few models. Occasionally we'll go back and look at older miniatures, and with the sculpting files, like every element is separate. You can often go down to like pulling an individual tooth or out of the miniature. And so quite often you can go back to a figure that's wearing a helmet, and you can like hide the helmet like you could hide a layer in Photoshop. And there are some horror stories going underneath a lot of helmets, because you basically quite often have to just like squish heads in to make them fit inside the helmet, because you can't actually make the helmet big enough to fit the whole head. Oh,
This is definitely your new podcast, isn't it?
Yeah.
Under the helmet.
Under the helmet.
Now you were looking at this
yeah,
one.
episode 2 of Under the Helmet. Yeah.
Well, there's the episode, today's name, or today's name of the episode, Under the Helmet.
Under the helmet.
Yeah, you'll have to do it as a YouTube thing, so you can show off, like, okay, now as we pull off this one, oh God, who did this?
Cover it.
I feel like that makes for a good question for Russ and Matt. Russ, you were talking about, while sculpting, playing around with like painting things and looking at it, about how much you work with each other when it's like, hey, as I'm sculpting this, how does that affect the paint side? When I'm, working on the paints, how does that affect the sculpting side?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think one of the great things is Russ and I's friendship started through painting and talking about painting and sharing tips and tricks. And I'm constantly interrogating Russ about how he approaches things and what he's doing. I think over the years, we've built up like a really good sort of shorthand language. So when we're sitting there looking at a mini, and generally, again, we've been working for well over 10 years remotely, so we're quite comfortable being on a Zoom call rather than being in the same room.
Right.
So Russ will have his screen share up, and I'll have the ability to kind of doodle, and he can see where I'm pointing and what I'm sketching, and because, a picture paints 1,000 words, so when we're trying to talk about a change to the model or maybe looking at posing, we can quickly sketch it out on a screen together.
Yeah.
And then off we go. But I think one of the big driving forces for a lot of the feedback is, how is this going to be to paint? Is there too much detail in this? How are you going to get your brush in there? What's going to happen? And then you've got to layer that alongside all of the like the production considerations and where the cuts are going to go and everything like that. So I think the fact is, Russ is a brilliant painter. That helps, I think, his sculpts be enjoyable sculpts to paint.
Absolutely.
Rather than being a pure sculptor. and therefore you can sculpt something that looks amazing, but isn't necessarily the most fun thing to actually put some paint on.
Yeah. I mean, we talk about fit for purpose, which is a very dull phrase, but actually, like, our role is not to sculpt brilliant miniatures. That is one element of what we do, but ultimately, what we are creating is something that should be a joyful experience, both to paint and then also function really well as a thing that gets played. You know, they serve a wider purpose than just being like an ornament. And so you learn over the years that you've got to operate within certain boundaries and achieve certain goals. But I've always believed that boundaries actually drive creativity and drive inspiration. I think that if you're just given like a blank canvas and no constraints, it's intimidating, but also you're not as innovative. The constraints actually make you think harder about the process, and that extra, that extra.
Oh, it's getting all emotional now.
Yeah, I get choked up. I'm not going to tell you.
Painting is
These models.
But yeah, the extra sort of rigor that you have to apply to that process makes you discover other things along the way.
Absolutely.
How do you turn the lights up?
You press the button.
Press the button on top; it makes it brighter.
Does it?
Yeah. There you go. Look.
Oh, right.
Don't go. You went too far.
Went too far.
Maximum brightness achieved. I can actually see what I'm doing now.
That's why I like doing it. So, like right now, when I showed up today, I'd had Taylor go, "Hey, grab 5 random colors for me," and that's how I'm going to paint this. So, same idea, I think, can be applied to painting a lot of the time. If you constrain yourself and say, "Hey, this is what I have to work with. What can I do with it?" I feel like, yeah, you're right. It really does kind of breed that. Not necessarily innovation, but that creativeness of like, okay, I can't crutch on this thing I'm used to. Therefore, how do I get this to work the way I want?
Yeah, I think that's very true. I also think that when you approach a painting session, you've got to decide what you want out of it. A painting session where you're attempting to advance your skill in the way that you are by doing that is very different to a painting session where you are working on completing an army or completing a miniature. And I think it's not a good idea to mix the two, because one side of that process is going to get frustrated.
Yeah, like I'm painting this for a local here, and I was like, I'm gonna base coat it in sponge because I really like the texture it gives on big models and metals. It looks really good, but I'm not gonna paint this to like learn from it. This is for a friend, and I want him to have a cool finished model.
Sponge shop is a cheat code.
Oh, I love sponging.
Some people, I mean, we've got a few guys here who can get award-winning results out of a painting technique that starts with sponging.
Yeah.
The makeup sponges that have been making the waves on the internet, those are very different than just using like foam like I'm using now. I didn't have any makeup sponges, unfortunately.
That's a great example of the way that the internet has really changed painting as a hobby, because that kind of like sharing of discovery and sharing of new information would have been just impossible back when I first started painting in the like early 90s.
Well, what was the medium for learning back then? It was either you had a local or maybe a magazine, right?
Yeah.
Or
you actually paid a lot of money for like some. Do you remember that series of really highly detailed videos? DVDs. I spent a fortune on those.
Yeah, they were pricey. They were good. Yeah. I remember buying a bunch of them, but they were by a French painter.
They were mostly the French style, weren't they? Which is like, you just glaze for 1,000 hours. You're like, okay, right. I ain't got time
all
for this.
based on chromatic shifts and glazing, and it produced a result that was absolutely phenomenal, but it was not applicable to anyone who wanted to paint an army.
I was talking, I went to the Belgian Master, I was talking to some of the French teams, because the French are really getting back into War Machine quite big. And
Are they? That's
I
cool,
can't
man.
wait to see your paint jobs are getting back into the thing.
Yeah.
And they did say to me, we're not all like that, don't worry.
I kind of like though that they have like captured such an identifiable style. It's a bit like how like there is a definable French cuisine. I love that there is a definable French art style for miniatures.
Well, I mean, the French had to get something right. Is this going online?
Yeah, it might be.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
I don't know. I'm a self-confessed francophile. I love lots of things
you
about
love
France.
France,
Yeah,
If you love France so much, why didn't you marry it?
I would like to, but Brexit happened.
There's lots of things we love about the French here in America. We love French toast. We love French fries.
French plats.
French dolphins.
We can kind of get into today's topic a little bit by jumping around.
Oh, well done. Good sharing.
I know, right? I'm gonna say, like, what are what are some of the favorite models you guys have painted this year?
Oh, this year.
I know mine. Just start straight away.
Go for it.
My Maelstrom.
Oh, yeah, that's
it's got
badass,
a
that
story
was.
about it as well. So I was painting. Matt taught me because I'm not the most prolific painter. I was the guy with the Silver Army back in the day, right? But I've really got into the painting side, and I enjoy now how it extends my hobby. So I can play the games in the day, and actually at night time sit there painting.
Yeah.
It immerses me in another level. So, and Matt's great at teaching simple techniques to get great results. So the yellow, right, with the pink undercoat, you know, doing the gradient shift, and I've really got down with that, and I did my Signar on that, and I've got this Maelstrom to a point where I was really happy with it. So it looks stunning. I was in the front room painting. I just finished it. I've been painting it a few days. And I just went in the kitchen. I got 2 kids, 5 and 7. I went in the kitchen. I'm back in a second, kids. Don't touch them on. I'm just going to go back in 2 seconds. I'm going to go and drink.
Oh boy.
We all know where this story is going, don't
So
we?
I come back in the room, and the Maelstrom's on the floor. It's broke, and the kids are like, "Sorry, Dad." And they were a bit upset. I said, "Just give me 1 moment, walk to the room.
I need a moment.
I need a moment." And then walk back in and goes, "All right, not a problem. Uncle Matt's coming down. He'll fix it." So, because Matt was ironically coming down the next week to come in HQ. So I sat there with Matt. I glued it together. I said, "Right, what do we do now?" So Matt was like, "Right, let's get some battle damage and put that on it to make it kind of feel where the cracks are." And you know, I'll send you a picture. But I think it turned out really nicely because it's got a story. It's got a bit of weathering. It's a nice kind of nice finish. It's one of my favourite models.
That's awesome.
I do love your Signar.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's lovely.
They look great.
And it's proof that, like, you don't have to separate into a, you know, are you a gamer or a hobbyist? It's like a fake division.
Yes. Yep.
Well, I think the thing I like about your Signar is that's for me is like tabletop plus standard.
Yeah.
So to get a model ready for tabletop, and you had it's a fairly simple process that you followed, but you don't even have to go as far as you did to get to a tabletop, do you?
No, I've been to plenty of events where an army of that quality would get a nomination for best army.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, looking, that was probably the one for me. I was happy.
Can I go?
Yeah. Go.
So, without, I don't want to sound like too hubristic, but it's probably Chum, because it was a joy to paint, but also I got to execute exactly the opposite of what I was just saying. I got to execute an entirely new experimental technique while trying to get this thing ready for my army, so breaking my own rules immediately. And what I wanted to do was try and get this mottled kind of shark skin effect that sort of felt like it sat under the skin, if you like. And the way I approached it was I painted the skin in a pretty standard way, just like layering up my highlights. And then I actually applied like dotted mottles. And I wanted to find a way to consistently apply them in a circular way. And what I ended up doing was I was using Oblivion Black Wash, which is a wash from Tooth & Coats, which their washes have a fairly unique consistency, and not everyone likes them, but I found them very good to work with. And I used the back end of my paintbrush because the Raphael 404s that Matt and I quite like to paint had quite a pointed back end.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was dipping that in the wash and touching it to the miniature, and because you were putting it on with like this rounded like wooden end, it was a perfect circle every time. And once those had dried, I then applied like successive layers of the wash to create all the shading. And because it's translucent, but you're using exactly the same colour, the mottles in the lighter areas are quite noticeable, and then they just sort of disappear as you get the shading progressively deeper.
Nice.
And it was such an easy technique to apply, because it's just like you just painting a bit on, dries in a couple of seconds, painting a bit more on. But it came out really.
It's quite a good way of doing tattoos as well, isn't it?
It is, yeah. And because you can glaze, glaze your skin color back over the top.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes a tattoo look more realistic on a mini, doesn't it?
But it was such a simple thing to do. But it was one of those times when I had a mental image of what I wanted to achieve, and when it came out on the miniature, it was exactly what I wanted, and that doesn't happen terribly often. So it was a nice experience. Plus, he's an absolute savage on the table. So
That's awesome. It sounds like you have a pretty particular view of how a wash should work. So all I'll say is hopefully some point we'll, see something. Not asking any questions, just saying. Just saying. It sounds like we're in good hands. All right. So
we're definitely in the R&D phase on washes and things like that. So, but that. As you say, the trouble is with having a fairly particular set of requirements is getting a wash to work exactly how you want is actually trickier.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's quite hard to kind of iterate on that.
I have for years been a proponent of P3 mixing medium as a way of creating washes and glazes and effects on models. I think that for a long time I was probably the only person on the planet buying that stuff. And when we did the new paint range, the production team gifted me a retailer box of just P3 medium. So I've got the full paint range and then 18 bottles of mixing medium.
in the little swag bag I opened it up and I was like, oh, I got a paint, that's cool. And I looked at it, I was like, that's mixing medium.
Oh, that's awesome.
So now I get to try that.
It's amazing because what it lets you do is it lets you change the translucency of your paint as an entirely separate value to changing the consistency of the paint. Because you can add mixing medium to a wash and you'll actually thicken the wash and make it more viscous, which will give you a different effect. But equally, you can add it to a paint and you can either keep the paint the same consistency but make it translucent, or you can then add an amount of water, so you can thin the paint slightly but make it much more see-through, or you can thin the paint a lot more and make it incredibly see-through. I just like the fact that it basically decouples the consistency of the paint and the transparency of the paint. Being able to control those two things separately can be really, really useful.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's it.
That's pretty cool. I'll go into my model that I was most happy with for the year is my Aberration Astilla. It was my first model that I got to just kind of go wild on, try new things, and I actually tried non-metallic metals for the first time.
Oh, nice. How'd you get on with that?
Everyone says I nailed it. I obviously see the flaws in it, but I am still really happy with how it turned out. I had to create my own recipe for copper non-metallic metal because copper is such an interesting metal.
Right.
It's very red, and at the highest edges, it's almost green.
Yeah.
And then I use Vince Ventrilla's video as a huge reference for that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's a great reference for colour recipes, isn't he?
Vince is a hobby hero.
Fantastic teacher.
It was definitely a proud dad moment for you, Matt, when Vince was really complimentary about the new silver. Because to get Vince to say good things about your metallics,
He was a fan, wasn't he?
To get him to come off Vallejo for anything is...
That's like having Chef Ramsay tell you that he likes your food.
Oh, yeah.
That's a nice Wellington, right?
Usually Vince says, I don't hate it. It means it's really good. But when he says he likes it, it means it's really, really good.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
He's a good guy. Good guy, Vince.
What's your model, David? What's your model?
For this year, it's hard to pick. This was my first year that I wanted to go hard into competitive painting. And so 3 models kind of really are in a 3-way tie, and that's because it was the first year.
It was all 3 of the models on your diorama.
Right. I was going to say, at Adepticon was the first time I ever put models in for competitive painting. So I did the P3 Grandmaster and I did Golden Demon. And so it was my first time painting at Golden Demon, but it was also my first time that I got gold at the P3 Grandmaster.
Nice.
And so after the judging, I was super excited, but also just a little heartbroken when I was told it came down to a coin flip between mine and the one that won Grandmaster. And so I was like, man, I was so close to, getting on that in my first try. So I was like, all right, I'm really going to do something different. I'm going to show up to Lock and Load for the P3 Grandmaster there. And so I did my diorama of Jake's fighting Sturgis. And I ended up getting gold as well here. So 2 golds in 1 year in my first pin. So those 3 are. It's really hard to pick between those 3, but they're my babies now. So
Nice.
thank you.
I guess I'll go. For me, it was kind of something I did on a whim. So before Adepticon, I was painting all my Chimera, and I just needed a break to do something a little different, like a different scheme. You can only stare at purples for so long before you're like, all right, something else, please. So I'd had a Totem Huntress just sitting around, and I decided,
It's a great model.
yeah, it's super cool. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to try this. I'm going to do like the very typical swamp scheme and just see what happens. And I did kind of that model effect that you were talking about with Chum.
Yeah.
With like the under texture. And I managed to get that on her, so it looks like there were spots under the skin. And it looked really cool. I threw it in at Adepticon for just to see, and didn't get anything. But talking to Tyson afterwards, where I was like, okay, what can I improve? Because the problem I always run into is like, if you talk to people about like, hey, what can I do better? They will look at your model and just be like, oh, it's great, don't change anything. And it's like, no, this is not the time to be nice to me. I need you to actually tell me these things so that I know. And Tyson did not hold back. He was just like, okay,
Correct.
here's all of the things that are good, and here's all of the things that need to improve if you want to step up.
Yes.
And getting that kind of feedback after being like, okay, I tried really hard at this, was great, and I think it helped me to improve. But it was also just a really cool experience, and that one's currently sitting on my shelf as like I can't think of the word, icon almost, of like, okay, we almost got there, we almost did something. Constant improvement, that's what we're at.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Inspiration for the future.
Yes.
I think that's a really important element of entering models into competitions that people don't necessarily recognise, which is that you should never feel intimidated by entering a model or feel that you're not good enough, because it's not just about am I good enough to win something. It's the fact that you're going to get feedback from someone with a professional eye who is in a role where providing that feedback is like an accepted thing that they're going to do. And so whilst they'll never be, they're not going to be cruel or rude, but they won't sugarcoat it. They will give you the unvarnished, this is what you can do. And if you're trying to improve your painting and you're on that journey, actually, it's a rare thing to be able to get in your everyday painting life.
Yep. Because honestly, so many people, even friends, you'll show them, this is great. Oh, maybe work on that, because people don't want to hurt your feelings. They don't want to be mean to you. And having just that kind of straight feedback of like, look, I am prepared for how this is going to sound. I am prepared to get my heart broken a little bit. Tell me what to do.
Also, I think that, like, not everybody has the vocabulary to articulate how you can improve. Like, you can look at a model, like your friends might be looking at miniatures and they might genuinely think that's great because that's where they are in their painting journey. Or even if
it's subjective.
Yeah, and they might think, well, something's off, but I can't express what it is. And that's what a painting judge can do.
Yep.
I think another way is because there is that kind of human sentiment of not wanting to be rude or upset someone's feelings. So maybe frame the question when you're putting it in front of a friend's hand and say, can you find the mistakes in this model?
Yeah.
Because ultimately, with judging, and when you were talking about a coin flip between yours and another model, I think that's shorthand for saying yours had slightly more mistakes in.
Right.
Because the tiebreaker is usually which model has the least amount of mistakes in it.
Yep.
You've got two models that are painted in a different style, both aesthetically pleasing, both, brilliant looking models. All right, it's a competition. Who made the less mistakes?
Right.
So if you say to your friends, can you find the mistakes in this model? They're much more comfortable. Go, oh, it looks like there's, that bit's been missed or that bit's not kind of rendered, terribly well.
We talk about in sort of broad terms when Matt and I have judged painting contests. You sort of talk in terms of like, what was the intention of the composition? What were the methods used? And how well executed were they? And then how successfully does that achieve the intention? of the composition in the first place. So like it's that sort of 3 or 4 elements that all feed into each other, and those are the sort of things that you're always looking at.
Same parallel with virtual wargames, that often top tables are determined by the errors you make, not the play.
Oh yeah.
Very true.
And actually, like players who are playing at that level want that in a similar way to people getting good feedback from judges. They tend to be the players that want to know
Where did I mess
what
up?
plays they could have made.
One of the first things after I finish the game, and Jamie will tell you the same, is you look at the mistakes you made, whether you won or lost. It's like, what did I do right or wrong in that game?
I like the phrases of "What did you want me not to do?"
Yep.
like looking at my army that turn. What did you want me not to do?
Yep.
So the interesting thing about the competition painting is I love seeing beautifully painted miniatures. I will spend hours online looking at them. I love coming in looking at painting contests. I love judging. I can't competition paint. I cannot do it.
I ain't got the patience.
I have to know that the miniature I'm painting is going to go on the table. Like at such an early age, the fact that these are things that I'm playing with has become so ingrained that I have to know. Like the motivation to paint for me is always the army list, the combo, the idea, the thing that I can put on the table. I mean, which is kind of hilarious because I am an extremely average player at best, but that's my motivation. That's what gets me to the painting table, is thinking about what it's going to be like to put it down and play a game with my friends.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's a great motivation just to have like that, build that. Because when you're playing games, even casually or competitively, you get to see like the battle unfold as you were fighting.
Yeah, it's the other thing is the ability to tell a story, right? Whether you're playing or painting, what are we playing for? In my head, it's always easier instead of just, oh, hey, yeah, go play 2 fronts and this is the objective. It's like, okay, what am I playing into? It's trolls. Why would I be fighting trolls? Oh, Chimera was just raiding a village nearby. These are the guys that showed up. Like, okay, I can make that quick story in my head that makes it much more of an experience.
That's cool. I love that.
And much more of just like, okay, I'm more invested in this now because it's not just, oh yeah, I need to win. It's, yeah, but like, this is affecting some greater story in my mind. Let's go.
And the story of a miniature or the story of an army doesn't necessarily have to be like a narrative story. It can be a visual story. It can be an idea about how you want to bring a colour scheme together or express a certain pattern or a certain way of painting the metal and see how that unfolds across an entire army. You know, like my Brine Bloods are very, very bright, but ultimately they were an expression of a really interesting contrast between like orange and blue, the blue in the skin and the orange I've used for the quills, and then like this chromatic purple that I brought in as a shadow to bring those colours together. And I had a really strong idea of how I wanted to do those colours and see it across the whole army. And that was kind of the inspiration for doing them. Plus it's trolls and I was going to pick.
And I like trolls.
Trolls are cool.
It makes the next 6 months of my painting very easy because, you know, Kithguard.
Yeah. You got a lot of trolls to paint.
I'm looking forward to seeing your next Abyssal King.
And that might break him.
Thankfully, with Kithguard arriving, I think it's safe to say that I won't have to paint another Abyssal King now.
Yeah, but now you gotta paint the next king because it's trolls are gonna have another king.
Have a king.
I think we have announced the name of that thing. I think
Of what?
I don't think you have. I know
No,
we
they-
talked about it. You said there was one coming. That's all we got.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't say don't get yourself in trouble with China. She's not around, but she will see this later.
Just
She will be
floats in.
out.
Absolutely.
I felt summoned.
There'll be a disturbance in the force moment.
Yeah.
My NDA sense was tingling. What? No, you won't believe this.
Every time it's guaranteed.
That is
isn't it?
fantastic.
For our podcast listeners, China has appeared.
She's like skipping. Like, What's that? What's that?
That was amazing time.
Someone's gone down a well.
Nobody mentioned the Warhead King.
Oh, that was perfect.
Like how? How?
Oh, that's too funny.
Is somebody about to do something stupid? Just appears out of nowhere. I'm
if appearing in a puff of smoke every time somebody did something stupid was China's job, she'd never get a stroke of work done because that would be 24/7.
Oh, that was great.
That was too perfect.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I guess actually that's dovetails into that. That's probably my hobby and painting goal for the early part of next year is, if I end up in a position where I get to do all of this again at Adepticon, I'd like to be doing it with a Kithguard force.
Nice.
Yeah.
I need to get back and start strap on a paintbrush on both
As I
hands.
say, you better get a wriggle on.
Yeah.
What model are you guys most looking forward to painting next year if you have one?
That you can say.
That you can say.
That you don't get yelled at about.
There will be two answers to that question.
Not the warhead.
I can start. So I'm really looking forward to Fane.
Okay.
So I did my sig now, as we said before. I wanted to get an army to table. One of my commitments when we got War Machine was I never wanted to play unpainted. So because prior, when I played competitively back in the day, I was always unpainted. So I wanted to do different this time. And the sig now I want to get, it's a nice all-round army. I can get all of the bits and I can always play that now, so I've got full pay for those. But with the Fane, I really want to try and up my painting game and do some new cool stuff. So right now, obviously the Frozen Forgotten, I'm doing that side of it. So I'm trying to get, but I'm going to theme them to a Fane feel. So, preparing for them coming out. So yeah, the Fane, having seen the sculpts and coming, I am very excited. Yeah, very excited.
Well, we all know you're not the only one.
I know.
Forward to Fane.
Someone might have jumped up during the keynote at the Fane picture.
I think they just nailed what I wanted from that side.
Yeah.
I've always loved, other undead themes in other game systems like that, and they always missed that kind of vibe in War Machine. So yeah, super excited.
When you say undead, like elven, vampire, empire, whatever you want to put it, like there's a certain, like those words come loaded with certain expectations, and I do think that like the model range really does like nail it. Like we do deliver on that expectation.
No question.
The one picture alone has me so excited.
I mean, elves on dragon bats. What's cooler than that? Like,
Right?
And then the one in the background had the giant like lance. I'm like, that thing is gonna kill something.
Yeah, it is.
this is the War Machine ring wraiths. Like, this is just.
Yeah, that was my thought.
I'm really looking forward to painting the Mistborn Dark Troll kit for Kithguard. I think that it's like one of those really geeky kind of like satisfaction moments that we get as miniature designers, which is like the magnetic kit for that model goes together so beautifully.
That's awesome.
And there are obviously we've only shown off like one build of it in the cabinet here, but like the other heads and the other
I was
weapons.
going to say, is that the one with we've got the chemical head?
Yeah.
That one's cool.
And you can literally, if you're a long time player of War Machine, you can have a fun 10 minutes when you get that out the box playing. What ancient battlefield did they pick this weapon up from as you look at the options? Because that thing is a walking salvage yard. It's great.
It is super cool.
And it's a really lovely expression of what a Dark Troll can be, and I'm really looking forward to getting paint on one.
Nice. So for me, the Lord of the Hunt that just released is one I've been looking forward to. That model, just from the art, I was like, this is dope, and it's gonna look just so cool.
Oh,
so
yeah.
Like, let's see what we can do. But then, if the Gorger releases this year or early next year, the pictures of that I saw was also just like, okay, this looks awesome. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but like, oh boy, is this going to be a fun one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What I
Yeah,
thought
it's
was
a big-
great about the photo of the gorge you took, Matt, and it looks amazing in that picture, but
That's
like
just my base layers.
the angle you've taken it from, like people don't know how far back that model.
No,
is.
he's a big old Krampus, isn't he? Yeah, he's a big guy. Yeah, that was actually quite. So I tried something different with my old Umbry, which was going for a little bit more of almost a watercolor feel. So I actually used a lot of oils to put my base colors down, and I was actually quite okay with the oils kind of going into each other and almost ignoring the boundaries of the mini, knowing that I can now go back in and just render the sharp edges, but the actual colours are sort of all bleeding into each other in a lovely sort of washed out way.
There's something really fun about taking a sort of like slightly more like watercolour, ephemeral, impressionistic approach to a faction that's much more tied to like folklore and myth. It's like, I like the way that like the technique kind of mirrors the theme. That's a really nice touch.
One of the other things I did do is get like a sunny skin tone kind of and dilute it right down, and then just like airbrush it over the top, and it makes them look like they're kind of like dappled in sunlight, which is kind of fun as well.
I'm not gonna lie. When I saw it, the color scheme at first confused me a little bit.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, this is just like a riotous, like there's reds and blues and greens and purples and everything's kind of mixed together.
Yeah.
And then I got a chance yesterday. I was talking to Sherman a little bit. I'm like, hey, I don't know if it's okay. Can we talk about the fluff, the beasts a little bit? Like, where do they come from? Is this like a Grimkin style? They just kind of appeared out of nowhere because people were afraid of them.
Yeah.
And he gave me a little bit of the lore.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
They've always been around, and I'm like, okay, see, that makes sense then, that it would be this kind of like weirder mass of colors, because it's not a naturally occurring thing. It's always been there kind of like hunting and feeding, and it's just like so otherworldly that it's like, yeah, no, actually this makes sense now. Like the color scheme and the lore tied together for a minute, I'm like, that's cool.
Nice.
It is a pretty awesome way that all comes together.
Well, thank you for saying lore. We call it lore in this
I think that they probably right.
I'd say one of the models I'm probably looking forward to, aside from Fane, of course. I'm excited for the Kithguard Super Guy.
Oh yeah. Ramhead. What a model.
So Matt, as our resident painter of unreleased models that are awesome, how did you find the Ramhead to put together?
So I was on quite a limited time scale with him.
That might have been my fault. Yeah.
So those 4 massive drudges, like the iconoclast blown up, and the 2 ramheads and the 2 journeyman warcasters, I had about a week, I think, to do those. Didn't I?
We were basically like, we're a little bit tight on timelines. Matt, can you help us out?
So I was cranking on those. Yeah. Yeah.
Sure. I'm sure that's what he thinks.
But oil washes did a lot of heavy lifting for me.
Ramhead does very much sort of express some of the stuff that you and I have discussed. Like that model has a lot of nice, bold, clean shapes, big silhouettes that are like really nice to define. So you can really have a lot of fun with its surfaces.
Yeah. I just wanted to focus on giving him a really kind of that, when metal gets that, it's been out for so long, it's got that pitted like kind of pockmarked. That's
what I'm doing.
Exactly that. Yeah. So sponging and then putting a layer of something like rattling grime, and then sponging a bit more of the same color, another layer of rattling grime, another sponge, and it just sort of builds it up, doesn't it? And it's such an easy way of a convincing patina on the metallic.
So that was the recipe. You used a lot of sponge and metallics, and then rattling grime, sponge and metallics, going back and forth.
Because I pulled it all together in oil wash. So oil wash is my crutch. Yeah. But because I'd had a short amount of time, I couldn't afford that 12-hour cure each time. So rattling grime, thin down, just building that up, and then I can dry that off with a hairdryer.
Because I absolutely love the true metallics you did on those iconoclasts.
Nice.
I was very curious to ask you what the recipe was. Like
it's sponging, rattling grime. I also use a thing. Have you heard of marine juice?
You were talking about that in your
marine
class.
juice or brown juice.
To look it up.
Yeah.
See, the Marines I know here in the U.S., we don't want to talk about anything by that name. So.
We all know.
I think actually it comes from, it's an old Forge World painting team recipe.
Yeah.
So, you may have been to Warhammer World in Nottingham, you probably haven't, but you go there and it's full of these dioramas with like tens of thousands of minis. Now aren't rendering each of those Space Marines to the highest quality when you've got to put 1,000 of them in a diorama. Right. So they invented this thing where they literally would just airbrush a base coat, a colour like ultramarine blue, and then this was just all over one wash.
Right.
And they called it marine juice because when it dried, it just revealed, it delineated all the different segments on the Mini enough to then go in the background of a diorama.
That's really neat.
Grim dark panel line.
Basically, yeah.
That's kind of cool.
It's definitely, talent in the bottle.
So that's what they base Nolan oil off of.
Yeah, pretty much, actually. Yeah, it's very similar to Nolan oil mixed with a little bit of Agrax and then probably diluted to 50%. So you just apply that, splosh it all over the model and then, wick up all the bits where it's starting to pull and then just leave it to dry. And the other thing that I like with it is it then creates a uniform surface across the whole model, which receives paint really well.
The reason that I suspect they don't sell it is I'm willing to bet that their studio mix version contains all sorts of things that you would be ill-advised to put in a mass consumption product and sell in.
Quite possibly, yeah.
Come on, the Minis community doesn't eat paint. It's not. What's the worst that can happen? I say is everybody.
I mean, lacquer tastes the best. Yeah, to me.
I mean,
That's like I really love the Dirty Downs product as well.
Do not
and
like
I
eating
smell
it.
it and I was like,
Don't lick that brush.
I was like, I'm not licking that brush. I don't even know if it's really okay for me to be sitting in the vicinity of this smell right now. But hey, it looks fantastic
It looks
on
awesome.
my model.
Yeah.
I've been painting for 40 years now. So, at this point, my blood type is probably goblin green.
Do you want to know a cool trick with that Dirty Down?
What's that?
So you can reactivate it. So typically people will say, well, make it the last thing you do. But if you actually paint your model with, like, say, a black and a brown, and then cover it in Dirty Down, then put your normal armor plane over the top, and then reactivate it in places, it blooms through the paint. It looks incredible.
Because it's water-based, and water will just reactivate it.
Yeah.
I've seen individuals do that where they cover the whole model in metallics after, and then they'll take a wet sponge and just hit the different spots, and you just see it start to.
And it just naturally just sort of blooms through and bleeds in. It looks incredible, but no effort at all.
Yeah.
There's a lot of techniques like that you can sort of pull from flat painting, because that's like a wet paint, like a wet paper technique.
Yeah.
You get in watercolor.
That's right. Yeah.
One of the things that I sometimes do on large surfaces, like the bellies of all of my Brine Blood Marauders, I sort of, did like a standard layering, like highlight and shade effect, and then I was using one of the contrast paints, the one that's like a turquoisey, I think it might be called a Killian green.
Killian green.
But what I did was I painted the area, completely painted the belly area up to the borders where it met like the belt or the trousers with just pure contrast medium, no pigment at all.
Okay.
So then when you start putting the Achillean green in, painting it in around the edges, it will get drawn by the wet surface, drawn across the model and naturally fade itself out as it goes, which is an old watercolor technique. And it's like it's wet blending itself for you.
Right.
So you get these amazing like color fades with very little effort. It's a really nice way of painting flames is if you paint them a really strong white, put contrast medium on, and then start from the top end of the flame with like a yellow contrast. It will draw itself down towards the bottom, but like fade out, so you'll keep the white at one end. Then you can let that dry, reapply more medium and go in with an orange and so forth. And it's a low effort, like very low barrier to entry way of learning how to get like lighting effects and stuff.
Oh, that's very neat.
that's really cool.
Who hasn't done it? Forget who. Favorite model you're gonna paint next year? Go.
Favorite model I'm going to paint, I'm probably with Ryan. I'm probably going to say Lord of the Hunt is going to be a very fun model to paint.
Hell yeah.
That just so well sculpted, such an awesome pose. So many little puppies to paint all around him. It's going to be a great time. Didn't find out till this weekend that like it's field allowance 2, so I was like, I don't know if I'm looking forward to painting 2, but 1 for sure.
It's one of those models that's like it's almost like a diorama itself.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Well, that's something we're a big fan of. You look at like the field gun in Gravediggers and like the little kind of like sentry guys, and I do like those little mini dioramas on some of these larger pieces. Yeah, they're a lot more fun.
That, I want to lean into more. Lord of the Hunt sculpted by an amazing sculptor called Irek, who is one of our absolute heroes on War Machine range. we were aware of his work that he'd done on Gravediggers and very much knew we wanted to continue working with him. And yeah, he's just turns out amazing work for us, knocks it out of the park.
Yeah, he's tip top, isn't he?
What are you gonna paint next year, Ryan? What's your favorite model you're excited for?
I already said that.
Did I? Did you? Oh, well.
I went first.
That's what I mentioned. I was like the same exact one as him. The
I'm
Lord
glad
of
you
the
were listening.
No, the sponges have got to be there.
It's a long time.
Look, I've got a whole model base coated.
Well, I've got to finish my Gorger when I get back. Get some paint on him. I've got a Cador Force that I've got printed off, and I want to get that done. And then I want to paint some Kithguard. Yeah. And I need to get that all done before Fane starts happening and the marketing and demands and everything on the Fane. So, yeah, I've got about 2.5 armies to paint in the next 6 months.
Yeah,
so
Just
Good luck.
so yeah,
don't worry about those dirty elf players. Just
smashing it out.
Be awesome if we could do like a SFG, like Kithguard sweep into Adepticon with like 3 or 4 Kithguard armies.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it? Yeah.
I mean, it's not like you're doing anything else, right? Just sit around and paint all day.
Nah, exactly.
Yeah, super easy.
You know who's definitely free and not doing anything else? China.
Right.
China's doing nothing else. Let her.
Jeez.
Can I just point out that during the keynote, when it was the Meet the Staff slides, it set up on the screen what each of us were collecting as an army. And under China's name, it said that she's collecting an Orgoth Reaper Covenant army. And not a single person asked about it.
Oh, we saw. We saw.
There's a bit of a story
like,
on this one. So she genuinely is going to. So that's going to be her first time she's going to paint herself and then play. So she's really cool. She originally didn't have that on her name.
Yeah.
So I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if I just changed it to that so she would get all the questions this weekend and she just...
Hold on, when you said wouldn't it be funny, did you mean to tell her that you were going to do it?
No, I did not tell her.
Wouldn't it be hilarious? I put a massive spoiler up on the screen next to her name.
She had a few words for me when I
bet she had a few words for me. I bet
I
she
was like, it's
did.
going to make your con way more interesting when people coming up asking things you can't talk about.
See, the
That she doesn't get pulled away enough already.
Exactly, right.
I'd say the worst part of that is multiple of us saw it, and like those of us who do content and like have talked to her before all had the same reaction, which is I want to ask questions, and
know.
also she's running around like crazy.
Everyone was too polite.
Yeah,
So,
and there's a
she's
chance
very
I
nice.
might just get stabbed if I ask her at the wrong time. So
So, my trolling did not
Avoid that.
work, unfortunately. Always next time.
I want to ask questions, but I'd also like to see
So
some
you're saying
more.
it's a Depticon.
I'm just going to change to men off.
I had the theory that every time it's just going to change armies.
Yeah, right.
It'll always be the one that's coming out
I'm
next.
quite looking forward
Oh,
to
actually, I forgot all about the Menoth stuff that we've got to get ready to show off at Adepticon, haven't we? So probably going to be painting a bunch of red and sanguine.
3.5 armies?
3.5 armies, let's go. It's airbrush time.
Everyone's been putting.
We're not going to show all of them, but we're going to show a load at
tease stuff.
Adepticon, yeah.
Everyone's been putting pictures of the junior troll warcaster that goes with Ramhead that y'all had on the table this
Nice.
weekend.
First do Menoth.
And they were like, oh, that Jackie's standing on looks like Menoth, and that looks like dinosaur claws on it. What is that? And everyone's like, oh, go on.
So no, the one in the cabinet, that's not the junior. Although it's a relatively similar pose, there's a model in the cabinet over in the Kithguard who is a warlock.
Okay.
That's an alternative sculpt of the same character.
Oh, okay.
I was going to ask. So what's your formula going to be for scales? Because obviously Menoth, there's going to be a lot of them.
The scales of justice, mate.
The scales of justice and fire.
I didn't like that, but there's a question like you're going to say the word Menoth. Yeah. It's going to be fiery. It's going to be religious.
It's going to be fire.
Yeah. What else you need to know?
Would you say there's going to be a lot of off-white?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Would you say it's even a devout white?
Yeah. We'll have to order more Men of White. Be free.
Double down on the order.
Yeah, double down the orders. Yeah.
We're missing a chance. We should bring in a Menoth brush cleanser.
That would be.
That would be
Isn't
funny.
that just a blowtorch?
Do you know one of my favourite things this year that's painting related is the amount of times that various people have come to me and gone, is this a typo on the matte varnish spray? And I'm like, it's not a typo. And they're like, isn't Matt spelled with 2 T's and an E? I'm like, yeah, but my name isn't. So I really quite like the idea of people spraying bits of me all over their models.
brilliant.
Which is
Cut.
But that's why one of the colours in Wave 2 is called Rich Red.
Yeah.
And there's a China Blue.
Yep.
Yeah.
Blue.
Yeah. So
And then Gunner Red for your favourite.
Gunner Red is obviously my favourite, being an Arsenal fan.
Back in the day when I long time ago in a previous life worked at Games Workshop, or one of the stores I worked in, one of when I arrived, a customer had previously started and had a huge army of a Space Wolves successor chapter, which were called the Disciples of Russ.
Nice.
And it all became super awkward as soon as we started working in his shop.
I mean, I feel like that's a moment where you just be like, I'm in charge now.
Yeah. Finally, I'm recognised.
Unfortunately, you've named this after me, therefore I am in charge.
I own this army, thank you. We're just keeping it warm for you.
So what? With the P3 Wave 2 coming out, what colors are you most looking forward to getting into like the hands of the player base? 'Cause I know like Coal Black was for Wave 1, the one everybody was waiting for. To like, get this back to me, please.
Yeah, Rich Red is definitely because that's almost like a pure red pigment.
Pyrrol.
Yeah, it's definitely based on well, you use as a Pyrrol.
I think I'll use that for the Fane, actually.
Sorry.
It'd be nice for the Fane, that. So
Yeah, so that I mean, I'm a slave to red. I just love painting red. It's my my default go-to. So whenever I get lost in my painting, because I have my preferred paint style, but I also, because I watch a lot of videos and I like trying a load of different things, so I will often lose my identity as a painter by going off and trying to do a Marco Frissoni or a Ninja or whoever.
Right.
Yeah, and then I have a panic because I'm like, I don't know how to paint a
I
mini
remember
anymore.
being like, I don't know how to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know
how to paint.
Yeah.
It was like Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder.
I'm a guy playing another guy dressed as another guy.
This guy's a dude playing another dude.
So whenever I get into that, I'm like, right, just paint something red. I'll feel happy. And so Rich Red is like, but it's one of those I was chatting about in the painting class about. It's brilliant for like just glazing in those midtones and just bringing that richness back into a cloth.
I'm really excited for those true metallic metals that we talked about because they're going to be that super poppy stuff that I'm used to from using like lacquers, and I don't have to mess with lacquer fumes anymore.
Right.
Because it's my least favorite thing to deal with. This is a good thing to lead into. When you guys are looking at trying to prep for your next year of painting, and you want to say your goal is to improve as a painter, what are things you try to kind of like do in your mental mindset? Like, I want to improve next year. This is what I'm going to do.
So I want to push constantly. I need to push myself to be more brave with my step ups between layers. I often panic a lot, so I'll put a colour on and then go, oh my God, that's too much of a big step, and then I'll spend too long then trying to blend those layers. And when I force myself to not do the blends in between and just go, no, layer, then layer, then layer, and it creates that then an optical illusion, you end up with a much better contrast, much better pop, and you're much less stressed after. So yeah, for me, it's forcing myself to paint brighter steps and not panic about the transitions between them. But then the other thing, and I was chatting to a couple of people, one of my practice techniques at the moment is take a mini prime it black, and then I give myself a grey colour, and that's it. And then all I do is paint essentially a black and white or a black and grey sketch of just the light. So you're now just literally painting the light. There's no transition or anything. You're just saying, where would the light hit this model? And I'm just going to render that out. And it feels really challenging. But when you actually do it and then hold it out, you go, the model still pops. And it just teaches you so much that how much you can do with just a single step. And it's not wasted because it's like black to grey, you can then just start painting over the top of it already. So it effectively becomes a zenithal.
Get a couple of glaze colors in there. You're good.
Yeah, pretty much. But it's a good way of practice, and it's the same as I'm slightly inverted insofar as I'll go onto a surface and I'll paint almost a glaze first, and then it's almost like a wash. And then I'll go in with the homogeneous layer to then kind of actually build the layers. Whereas a lot of people will paint the layer first and then go with a wash or a glaze afterwards. what I find is the glazing first uniforms the surface, but it also interprets all of the lighting values from your zenithal. But then it kind of makes it feel safer for me to then kind of be a lot more bold with my layering.
Yeah. What's been an interesting one for me is I talked to my friend Jay, who's a very good painter, and one of his suggestions was first try blacklighting things, like the old GW style.
Oh, yeah.
Just as a separator. He's like, and then paint for a bit and don't use washes. Just don't. Start at your darkest color, figure out how to work your way up through whatever layering you want to do, but don't touch a wash. Because for the longest time I was crutching on just like, oh, the old, because I learned with the old GW style, like, wash, layer, and taking that step out and being like, okay, I don't have this as a quick fix, I don't have this as this will put the shadow back in for me if I mess up. How do I do this? Has been honestly a really fun experiment, and one where I'm just like, I don't actually want to use these anymore, like on everything. It's a very deliberate choice to be like, a wash would work well here, therefore I will use it rather than just be
Yeah, I get you.
Louise at Rogue Hobbies recently did a video about like breaking out from the sort of classic GW process and taking that out of the equation. It's a really good video.
Yeah. I mean, it's nice that they have the way of teaching it, but like, it's also a really, I don't think it's actually the best way to learn how to paint, and that's such a weird, like, dichotomy, I think, because they have a very good system for army painting where it's like, look, I want to get this up to a like tabletop standard quickly, but for like actually improving and doing better.
I think you're right.
I might still
it's like
if I can.
it's a technique that gets you an army onto the table painted well, but it doesn't actually teach you or emphasise the important bits of painting. Yeah.
But it's about broad appeal. I like the intent there. It's not best practice, it's most accessible practice.
Yeah. Which, I mean, has a place for sure, right?
Yeah.
I'd say that's probably the thing that I'm learning is like where to step away from normal techniques to push myself so I can prep and just like learn different techniques and learn just probably better brush control overall to improve as a painter.
Yeah.
I think I want to start. I've done a very little bit of wet blending, so I've not really took that to any cut, and I quite enjoyed it. The results were pretty good. So that's definitely something I want to try and get a handle on. And P3 is obviously really good for that, right?
Yeah. Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, finding the things you enjoy the most to then double it just to practice more.
Yeah.
Like I somehow, maybe this is a masochist side of me saying I really enjoy non-metallic metals.
Right.
So I definitely want to push that on more models. Like part of me is like, I might just do that on all of Fane. And I'm like, that's a lot. We'll see how much of a horde army they are.
All I'm hearing is that everything from now on for you is going to be non-metallic metals.
That's very different because I'm literally painting with metallic right now.
All right.
I guess it's not my model though, so it doesn't count.
There you go.
I do want to become a bit more receptive to using a lot of these new techniques because I'm very aware of them, and I'm happy to sing their virtues as a sort of intellectual exercise. But when I sit down to paint, because I'm just thinking about getting my models on the table, I do just default to what I know.
Right.
And so I want to like break out of that comfort zone a little bit more.
Absolutely.
I'd say that's why it's probably good to have like an army you play and paint, and then army you can just, or just models you want to just paint.
Yeah, that and that for me might be Kithguard. You know, I do love trolls, so Kithguard will be the army I put on the table. But Fane might be my, might be going into my experimental Jazz Odyssey phase.
Give it a go.
Yeah, Dusk, I'm going to wrap up in like a tabletop plus level, and then Fane I'm going to kind of go a little heavier into and kind of explore more things. Because I've never painted like a true fantasy army. I've been a Warjack player the whole time. So now I'm going to do a fairy base. I can get more
without
fantasy
your
style.
fancy contrast paint.
Yeah,
It's great.
it's not bad.
So you've done a face. I've nearly finished mine.
I've done you.
Finished?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Badass.
I'm just like here.
I like the green on the copper. That's awesome.
I'm realising
That's
how much
very
the 3 days of air conditioning has dried my eyes out.
Oh, don't. Yeah, my throat box, or my voice box yesterday felt like sand in it.
Yeah, I feel like I'm trying to focus on a pair of raisins.
I mean,
Here's where I'm at on the dragon.
I've got my.
That strong magenta in the in those undertones.
No, I want to see his. Oh yeah, that pops very nice.
That's sweet. I love
Is
it.
it finished?
Desaturated,
Nice.
almost like mustard grey.
Oh yeah,
Thank you.
It feels so unhealthy.
I was gonna say here's one of my finished ones I brought from home. So.
No, that's the one he just finished. Did you see it?
My heavy that I had
That
done.
subtle underglow is really, really nice.
Thank you.
I am so unbelievably bad at any kind of OSL effect that I have such respect for anyone who can do it. And I like this because it's really subtle. Often when people go with OSL, it's like
Too much.
super intense and it pulls all of the focus.
I like to do a very, very thin down version of what's going to be, and I'll take the airbrush and do the very thin down version where I know the light's coming from, and then go back, like, exactly the way you would do highlights on other things. I go back and I take a stronger, brighter version and start picking out the edges and things that would get hit a little more.
No, I like that because it's like it's not the point of the miniature; it's contributing to the miniature. That's really nice.
Thank you.
It's almost like you've won things before.
I'm doing my best.
What's he doing?
It's best.
Award-winning painters here, and some of us are just scrubs and happy to be here.
No, you're a great painter. You put yourself down too much. This leads to anybody who's thinks they're not as good as a painter they are, and they get stopped. I have a friend who stops himself from painting. He'll strip the model and never finish it. And I've been trying to convince him just trust the process. Finish the model.
Yeah. Every single model I paint, there's a bit, usually about halfway through, I'll go, oh, I've screwed this up.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's dead. I've messed it up. And somehow I go, just keep working at it. And I'm almost going to flow state. And then about 20 minutes later, I go, oh, it looks badass. How did I do that?
I've had several people compliment my Great Old One this weekend, which has this very, I don't know if you call it brave or foolish decision to fade from a deep leaf bottle green to an incredibly bright orange.
I think it's incredible. Because it goes through that transition, which is this sort of weird, rich brown kind of, but it's like a desaturated rich brown sort of flavour, isn't it?
I want you to imagine how many hours I spent during that process going, this is never going to I have ruined this model.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I can concur on this. I think it's very much, and even what I've been trying to teach some of the locals we have, I'm even if you don't like it when you're done, you probably learn something, and then just take that and go to the next one.
The people, I've heard over the years lots of people ask questions like, how do where do you find the motivation to finish an army? What common colour scheme should I go for? And I always the best paint scheme is done. And every brush stroke you put on is a brush stroke that's there forever. You never have to do that again. You've just got to, you eat the elephant one mouthful at a time.
Yeah,
that's a new phrase.
You just got to keep going.
And he is perfect.
The feeling of putting a fully painted army on the table is it's the best feeling.
Yeah.
But I think,
I mean, for an hour I couldn't do that.
Fantastic, yeah.
I don't think anyone should ever feel shouldn't feel embarrassed about where they are with their painting, because painting miniatures and putting paint on a model is fantastic. How have you done that in the time? That's insane.
Must be getting vibes from Matt.
There you go. Your paintings.
I've always
been a good painter. I don't do enough of it, so I'm really enjoying getting back into it.
Yeah, definitely.
You're I'm not that good of a painter. I'm thinking of your signature. I'm these are really good. Hang on a second. I think he's lying.
But you have to appreciate. I'm always next to Matt and Russ. They're just. That's what I always see. Is
this is how I feel about playing. It's I go to head office and I'm I'm just going to have a few casual games of War Machine against the world champion.
World champion Jamie Perkins.
And we feel the same though. We're going, oh God, look at Russ's army. It's beautiful. That's
I will say though, Jamie is probably the most generous and patient and just enjoyable player for me to play against.
So the real question is, when are you guys gonna make him change his Longshanks ID, because he's got to upgrade from kitchen table.
Absolutely,
legend.
yeah. I'm just going to ride the wheels off the fact he's a world champion. Can we get any rules questions for next year? At least?
I was going to say, every video
it.
that y'all do for the next year, I just don't think it's appropriate to not call him by his full title.
Absolutely.
Anytime you insert his name, it's always world champion Jamie Perkins.
I think the knighthood is coming. I think I've heard rumours, but you know.
Oh,
a few years back when we were coming over for a different show, we were coming through passport control, and because one of our guys was a few steps ahead, he had a chat with the passport officer. And so Jamie gets the counter and hands his passport over, and the passport guy opens it and goes, "Oh my God, are you the Jamie?"
That's fantastic.
It's pretty funny.
And he loves it.
He does.
Deep down, he really doesn't.
deep down, he's like, no.
It's like, why you keep doing this to me?
You just had to win.
He's seething on the outside, but on the inside, he's seething.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
No, he takes it very well, which I think is the funniest part.
Yeah.
Because it's like, even during your guys' the keynote, every time it got brought up, you watched his face drop a little bit, where he's just like, I have to fly back with these guys. How many accidents can they have between now and then?
There's a lot of stairs in a lot of airports for us to fall down.
we're playing some water table in there. We got a layover of like 5 hours, so it's like brilliant Perkins to play some water table in the lounge. Yeah, we did try last time we flew over. We managed to get the Wi-Fi on the plane. And we tried playing a warmer table on the plane, and I beat him with his Kyrax against my Huxley. So, and then since then, he's not played on the plane, so it's a horrible experience. So I'm current world champion in the air. That's
That's a good one.
You're the Mile High champion.
Mile High.
I think it's not much fun when you fly through a cloud and he clocks out because of his connection.
No, win's a win. It counts.
Yeah.
We were laughing over our buddy Riker from the team tournament. He was like, "Y'all don't understand." He's like, "For me to win the team tournament, I had to beat world champion Jamie Perkins playing cricks."
Yeah.
He was like, "You don't understand."
Yeah.
So it was fantastic.
You don't know what I went through.
So I think we are being notified that our time is near our end.
You had the China warning.
I would love to get one quick last, like, if you had 5 seconds to give somebody, not 5 seconds, just one final tip for somebody wanting to be a better painter in the next year, what would you tell them?
I think for me, there's twofold, right? If you've not done painting like I hadn't to the level, right, and you focus more on competitive on that side, honestly, you're missing out massively. I think it brings a whole new world to the game, the immersement into the world. So it is the biggest thing I've done aside from playing the game is actually painting. And I think for me, definitely just paint. If you haven't done it before, just get some paint on, like Matt said before, and just you will get better and better and better the more you do it. It's just the process is incredibly enjoyable. Yeah.
Paint more.
Paint more. Yeah.
I think if you're starting on your painting journey or you're at any point in time, let your paint dry before you then go on and try and do any more to it. Because unless you're deliberately wet blending, but typically what I see the most when people say, "Hey, can you give me some tips?" is texture being put into the paint surface, and that's usually through people overworking the paint as it's drying. So put your paint on. You've got an open working time to kind of get the paint where you want it, but as that paint starts to kind of contract, you need to take your brush off and just let it dry, and you'll get a much smoother, better result. You can always put another coat on. Don't try and overwork your surface. Basically.
Absolutely. I would echo what Rich said.
You're good.
I'd echo what Rich said, which is that there is no substitute for just putting in the hours and repetition and getting the familiar muscle memory, but also, like, give yourself some grace. Be generous with yourself, because failure is part of the learning process, and so you need to recognize that everything that you paint is another step towards getting to where you want to be. And so give yourself the grace to make mistakes and feel okay about it.
I think that's a good life lesson in general. Is just talk to yourself nicer.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Don't beat yourself up.
Be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself. You should be your own best friend rather than your own worst enemy.
I like it. You guys do anything? Last minute tips?
Don't be afraid to ask for criticism and advice. There's too many people I know that will paint things and think that asking somebody to critique it is going to be like this massive thing. Listen and take the advice, because ultimately, especially what I found in the painting community, is people aren't trying to upset you. They are trying to give you the best advice they can at the skill level that they are at.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Absolutely. You had actually brought up Vince Venturella a little earlier. He had mentioned something that I've noticed really kind of changed the way that I do things, especially someone who struggles with focus. And that's, have you about 2 projects and no more than that, but have 2 separate distinct projects. So that way, when you hit that roadblock and you're picking yourself apart and you can't, stay there, you're like, oh, well, what I learned doing this one, I can now pick up and apply to this one. And so then you'll get in the flow with that one. And then when you hit that wall, you're usually like, oh, now I know how to fix the first one again. And so that's really changed the way that I've painted this year. So
Nice. Well, thank you guys for joining us. It was greatly appreciated. You guys have put on a fantastic show at Lock and Load. Thank you. Big fan of this. Super excited to see where it goes next year as well.
Thank you.
And thank you all for watching. We'll catch y'all next time. Bye-bye.
bye.
Cool. You have fun?
Yeah, really fun.
Good.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I'll get...